Well. How are we doing, all you beautiful people out there at the K.O.E Nation? Welcome back. Boy, howdy, has it been quite a time. I don't know if you saw it or not, but there was a little bit of commotion. But welcome one and all. Welcome one and all. Come on in. Come on in. The waters are fine. But yes, if for those who don't know, I am filming this evening out of my mill because the upload rate out of this mill is amazing. So yes, it is in fact the mill of extreme. Yes, and there's double your fill, double your fun. Check that out. Yes, I'm also here to check to see how the upload rate looks when I do put a video up. But yes, for those who don't know, I ran into Vaush and Destiny last night. Very interesting time, folks. Very interesting time. I'm just gonna go ahead and say, I don't think those two get along all that well. I think there might be a little something there. At one point during that debate, I had to go, hey, guys, this isn't about fascism, is it? I think there's something a little more here. But with all that being said, and without further ado, I really want to test this out, folks. So let's see. Oh, there we go. There we go. Even bigger. All right. And without further ado, I'm looking so forward to seeing if this all works for you beautiful people. Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E Nation, folks. It is finally upon us, the first opening round of the Sweet 16 Bourbon Tournament, and I am here with a couple of indomitable broadcast partners. There has been an invasion of Castle K.O.E. I am joined by
the one and only Style and Profile and Chicken,
and
Tony G. Like, share, subscribe. Well, let's do this.
Yes, we are going to do the Sweet 16 Bourbon Tournament, and we're going to be going on a point scale. Allow me to explain it to both my judges here and you, the fans at home. These 4 bourbons have been poured into these glasses. As you can see, they have a letter on the bottom. These two gentlemen do not know what are in each glass. I labeled them as I went, and I did as hard as I could to just forget them. And I think you can both agree.
That's not going to be an issue whatsoever.
So but I've got the cheat sheet right here. And once we're done, we're going to figure out who won. Now, each bourbon, we're going to be going on a 4-point scale. 4, 3, 2, 1. One bourbon must be given 1 point. One must be given 2. One must be given 3. The best must be given. Your personal favorite must be given 4 points. And then when we add up our scores, whichever bourbon wins moves on to the final 4. So our contenders, this is the budget bourbon bracket. So if anybody ever asks me what's a good budget bourbon, this is going to be the video I'm going to point them to. We've got a couple of heavy hitters. We got Mitchers, which is a favorite of this guy over here. Wild Turkey 101, which is, just well known. It's got a reputation the world over. The cult following Evan Williams White Label. I'm not a member of the cult.
One of them had to win.
Yeah, we gave 7 different whiskeys a shot for the Heaven Hill Distillery, and this is what won. And then Jim Beam Black, which is my personal favorite of all of the ones here.
Wow.
But, full disclosure. So, without further ado, gentlemen, let's take Whiskey A, which...
It's fairly light on the nose, but it does have that sharp bourbon cut.
I was about to say, it kind of opened my nasal cavity a little bit, kind of opened my sinuses.
This is bourbon.
Oh,
yep. Well,
can tell.
Gentlemen, we ain't going to find out which one's better by talking about them.
Sweet. Got the sting.
Yep. Now, this is also my first drink today.
Yeah. Same.
So
True.
it's got
Phil
kind of that
K.O.E
metallic copper back.
2024.
Yeah.
Like you can definitely
Not a ton of flavor there, though. I mean, in terms of tasting notes.
So I'm going to do a quick palate cleanse, and then I'm going to move on to Bourbon B.
Yeah, a lot more delicate. A little more bold. A little lighter on the booze.
Yeah,
Almost.
that one's a lot easier on the palate.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Come
on in, the
water's
water's
fine. Sweet.
Yeah.
It's not overbearing and too much oak, too much caramel, too much vanilla. It's got it all there, but it's muted.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Cleansing of the palate. Wow. Yes.
Very, very light.
C.
Like a sharp.
I'm getting grain. I'm
I
getting
say,
a lot of grain on the nose.
Yeah. Yeah, sharp grain note.
Yeah, super good. Wow.
That one bites really nice. Lingers.
That one's got almost like a cola quality to
Yeah,
it.
at the very end, finish.
Soft. Yeah, really soft. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. So, yep, get one more palate cleanser. And then, final whiskey D. Bourbon D.
Subtle, but
Not much there.
no. Not, yeah.
Kind of a boring.
Yeah, very boring nose, honestly.
Bit more of a subtle honey flavor on the palate, but
Sweet.
not much else.
Yeah, a lot sweeter, but
Oh.
sticks around a little bit.
It does. It does kind of dissipate slowly, but yeah, that cola for sure. I
Now,
agree.
before
100%.
I start putting my grades down, yep, gonna have to go back on a few here.
Oh yeah, I'm going back through again.
All right. So going back to A.
Come.
Tony's doing them just straight back to back, which can be helpful in this.
I'm giving A a 1. That's my least favorite.
Giving A 1.
After this video is concluded, I'll get a little deeper into the debate last night, folks.
Okay, actually, I think I've got my grading down.
But I thought start with something happy. Me, Phil K.O.E, Tony
Honestly,
G,
there's not a
Chicken.
bad one there, especially considering
You're
this
right,
is your
Tony.
Budget bracket. You're spending anywhere from $20 to $45 a bottle here. I believe the Michter's is going to be your most expensive bottle, typically going to be $40-45 a pop. Your Evan Williams and your Jim Beam Black are mostly going to run about $20 to $23. Kind of same for the Wild Turkey, unfortunately. It doesn't get enough respect because it's a really great daily sipper.
All righty. Now, do we add up our scores or should we do the reveal?
I think let's do the reveal and then we'll do the
All
ad.
right. So everybody's got their
Yep,
scores.
got my scores.
Pencils down. All right. Biases are now out of the way. Okay. Whiskey A was Mitchers. Mitchers bourbon was Whiskey A.
Okay.
Whiskey B was Jim Beam Black.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Whiskey C, Evan Williams, white label. And Whiskey D, Wild Turkey 101.
That is insanely surprising.
I have to pause the video here for a moment because Jesse West here in the comments said possibly
one of the most correct statements ever spoken in any language. The man, the myth, the legend, as an introduction to none other than your king of extreme, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man too sweet to be sour while making the other podcast cower. Welcome one and all to the K.O.E Nation. The Twitch post Vaush, post Destiny debate, which did not go the way I thought it was going to. We will get back to that a little later, folks. But look at that gorgeous mug. Now, give me a moment here while I get a little bit of a background for us. There we go. So that's a little loud. Perfect. So, yes, last night was quite the evening. Boy, howdy. Like I said, I don't call me crazy. Inch that up just a little. There we go. I'm under the impression that Vaush and Destiny don't get along that well. I know. Yes, no copyright music. Of course, I'm going to use that. But boy howdy. What really got that all started was when Vaush was basically saying everybody to the right of Noam Chomsky was a fascist. He's like, you're a fascist, he's a fascist, everyone's fascist. Like that was getting thrown around like hello. And so I had to start like, I'm sorry. What percentage or how many Republicans would you define as fascist? And they go, well, how many voted for Trump? And then at that point, like, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. And it's like I said many times, if anybody's ever seen the movie The Incredibles, there's a great scene in it where the mom says, well, don't worry, son, everybody's special. And the son comes back with saying everyone's special is just another way of saying that nobody is. And so again, when you warp the meanings of words like that, they start to lose all meaning altogether. And the reason I brought this up is because, again, you shouldn't call people just because you don't like them fascist. That's a god-awful idea. Why, yeah, terrible idea. Just because you don't like them, you call them fascist, because it's the boy that cried wolf. We've all heard that story from when we were children. We all know this from when we were small children. You don't cry wolf because then you betray other people's trust. You lose credibility with people because they're like, well, why should we listen to you? You say everything's a wolf. And like, what do you know? If you cry fascist too many times, people aren't going to listen when there actually is a fascist. And I was asked, do you think Trump's a fascist? No, I don't. And I think it's really harmful when you use these kind of terms on people that you just politically disagree with just because you think they're icky and you'd like them to go away. And Destiny had a really good point that, using terms like fascist and racist and all these different terms in our modern rhetoric, they're meant to be kind of like a grenade to just be dropped in a conversation so you can just kind of try and destroy somebody and then just walk away. And so it's and again, these words are starting to lose all meaning because they are being very much overused. And yeah, it was a hell of a debate, and those two got into it for several hours over this fascism question. And if you go back and watch that debate, you see me doing this a couple of times, like, I did this. It was, boy howdy, it was an event, folks. But yeah, I gotta say, Destiny, fellow Nebraska boy, you do the state proud, sir. You do the state proud. And again, I suspect the two of us would probably disagree on quite a bit if we were going to talk politic in any length. But it's one of those in that evening, like, I'm sorry, I was going to take Destiny's side because Vaush was just being so condescending to anybody who thought even slightly different from him that, and again, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. George St. Pierre style. Vaush, I was very glad that you came to the debate, sir, but I am not impressed by your performance. And, again, Paper champion, you're being protected. You're being protected from the real challenger here. But you know, I'm already the most prestigious champion in all the internet, and that is the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast champion. So, there is no accolade greater, no accolade higher, no greater accolade you could hope to achieve than the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast champion. So, yeah, why would I want to reduce myself? No, I kid. But yes, I have regained the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast Championship. For those who do not know, that was another very fun time. I got it at Double or Nothing, and Chicken, yes, the Young Bucks did this to you. Yeah, sorry. Not sorry. So, as your new Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast champion, be sure to check out Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast on YouTube and Spotify, because there's going to be a whole lot of top 10 best champion lists coming down the pike now that we have a proper champion with the belt on his shoulder. So, yes, folks, yes. And let's see here. Yes, beautiful. All is well in technology world, I think. Well, life is a strange journey, ain't it, folks? Let me check on the Twitchers. You stay right where you're at, folks. Well, it turns out I don't think you could hear the music I was playing in the background anywho. Well, but you could have heard that. That was 2 fills for the price of 1. My God. But yes, this evening was a bit of an experiment to see if I can stream video out to all of you beautiful people faster, more efficiently. And it turns out that is the case, because at my house, I'm in a little village of about 300 people, but here I've got hella good upload rate. So we are going to go full steam ahead. And, I think it's time we get into something that, there we go. Tony actually helped me put this together, and we got a lot of interesting content coming down the pike here, folks. K.O.E. Nation, Beer 30 O'Clock is going to be dropping, and this week is actually the debut of Chicken on Beer 30 O'Clock. So check that out, 4:30 Thursday. Perfect Beer 30 O'Clock time. But now let's get into... There we are. Find the proper. No, you don't. Technology. Even in the future, nothing wants to work, right? There we are. So, folks, don't be afraid. Don't be shy. The water is fine. Come on in, folks. This has been a very, very interesting time in my time on Twitch. Like, literally, I was just going on to just have a friendly little chat with Prime and see what was going on that evening. And then out of nowhere, Vaush shows up, and then Destiny shows up, and I'm just like, okay, well, we're doing this. So of course I was gonna go into business for myself and insert come on, have you met me? Do you know me? Have you ever even listened to me or seen a picture of me or read a text from me? Really? Of course I was going to do that. And when we started getting into the Florida 2000 election blue anon conspiracies, I couldn't help myself, because Vaush started talking about the butterfly ballots, and it was just ridiculous. But it was like, oh, the butterfly ballots, and you're getting into Alex Jones territory. Oh my God, the chemicals, they're turning the butterfly ballots gay. And at that point, somebody paid to have me muted for 10 minutes, which is just beautiful. Beautiful, really. Can you imagine a more perfect way of just capitalism in action there than you pay to just let me take a 10-minute break? My word, my goodness, whoever you are, I salute you. I needed that. But yes, the then the debate just got deep into who's a fascist, who isn't a fascist. And like I said, a lot of folks on the left, they would just define pretty much anyone to the right, like Noam Chomsky, as a fascist, which is just not a usable useful definition at all. And so I've always found that whenever you don't get consistent definitions from lots of people, we really don't know what we're talking about. Like I think that's pretty safe to say. Whenever you say define this, and then you ask that to 5 people, and those 5 people none of them can give you a consistent definition. They have to kind of like huddle together to get one. That tells you we don't really know what it is we're talking about. That's usually a very good sign, if you're wondering. Really, the only question I really didn't think I did that well on last night was Prime just handed it off to me when I didn't have my hand up, and my AC is also fucked up at my house, so I was sweating fucking bullets. Some sweat even got in my eyes. Like, oh god, things are bad and good things are good. And I don't know. I fucking yelled, and then I sent it off, and then after that, I turned my ceiling fan on, figured out how to not let the noise hit my microphone, and it got fun. It got fun. It was oh Lord, that was quite a happening, folks. And Destiny's put it up on his YouTube. Thank you, sir. Thank you. But yes, fellow Nebraska boy, Destiny. That and I'm just gonna add chicken sense. Like, well, Jesus Christ. I mean, Destiny's gonna look like a fucking saint when compared to Vaush. I mean, you're just gonna be like that. Like, there's just too pretentious there. And so yeah, that was also there was what was her name? Neo Gaia. Just this that nice, very quiet girl that like was just so polite. And this was her first ever night streaming, and she stumbles onto this fucking panel that night. And I'm like, you sure picked a doozy of an evening to decide to start streaming. Like, yeah, that was quite an evening. So Neo Gaia, welcome to this wild, wacky world we call Twitch politic. Maddie Cake, I liked the flags and the hair. That was actually pretty funny. Oh boy. And yeah, I can't remember everybody's names, but GSU, I do remember. GSU, I want to thank you because you were the court stenographer. You were the one that went by like, no, Vaush. Actually, it turns out you said exactly that. You said that anybody that voted for Trump is a fascist, and so that's not really a usable definition. You're overusing it. I think, I don't think there's anybody within the sound of my voice that could reasonably say that's not an overuse. Like that's clearly an overuse. Like just anybody that voted for somebody that you don't like. That's and so. After that, it started to really just be fun to watch because like Destiny was bringing up, like, you talking like this makes you sound a lot like an somebody that's denying I don't even want to say the words because, oh my God, but you know exactly what I'm saying. You're sounding exactly like folks on the other side today. Like, hey, there we go. There's the most charitable way of saying that. You don't fucking get me today, algorithms. But yeah. My redneckery doth reveal itself. But yes, we are here in the mill of extreme because my mill also has security cameras. And so the upload bandwidth is fucking amazing at this place. And so, yeah, I can actually stream while I'm streaming. I can play videos to you way better than at my house. When it's at my house, you get the king of extreme. And that's all you really need, folks. I mean, why would you need anything more? I mean, my God. Yeah, at the end, also a fanatic. He was very passionate. I'm gonna give him that. Fanatic, I love your passion. You're very like committed to the things that you care about. What I will say is when people try to interject and he's saying like, and what I'm wanting to say is this, and when you're trying to, and what I'm wanting to say, 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 he'll just do that like a broken record. And I was trying to tell him that doesn't persuade people. All that does is turn people off to the point you're trying to make, because like, again, there's two types of interruption. One is incredibly persuasive. The other one is incredibly unpersuasive. And that type of interruption he was doing last night, that was the subset of the unpersuasive kind. And yeah, the persuasive kind we'll get into a little later when I get put together a persuasion masterclass for all of you folks. I'll be sure to advertise that for a very good long time once I've got everything to get, like, you know, I'm putting together, like, I'm not saying I've got my unified theory of everything together, like no, like, but I've got an idea in mind for a persuasion masterclass I want to put on for some folks, but we'll see how that goes in the future. But yeah, like, there was some great persuasion last night and some very poor persuasion. I utilized humor because it's what I do best, and a lot of folks just can't withstand that. Like I've noticed that, like, even some pretty high level intellects, they can't withstand the barrage that is humor, because Voltaire, oh God, was it Voltaire or Machiavelli? Let me know in the comments who said, if you want to know who's in charge, you want to know who's winning, look who you can't make fun of, look who you're not allowed to mock. And that's still in play today. There's we all know there's plenty of folk we can't mock, and so I don't know. God, let me know. Like, somebody will probably say, like, that wasn't Voltaire, Machiavelli, that was Mark Twain, you stupid fuck. Who knows? But somebody smart said it way back in the past. That's really what I think any intellectual just wants to strive for. You just want to get to that point where people just attribute smart sound and stuff to you, whether you said it or not. Like Mark Twain. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that Confucius said that's now attributed to Mark Twain and like Benjamin Franklin. And then that's to me, that's always pretty funny. And like my favorite misquote of all time, it makes me laugh every time I see it. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. Abraham Lincoln. Yeah. Like I just love the shit out of that. So before we get deeper into, well, let me get you all prepared, folks, all you beautiful people out there, to share this screen. Now, this is something that Tony G helped put together. We're just going to get into this for just a few minutes, while I take a few drinks to keep my singing voice in fetch and all that such. But I hope you enjoy this presentation. It appears that you are not sharing the audio. Let's see if that is the case. I've even got you on my phone. I'm going to triple check it because I want, It appears that you are not sharing the audio. No, you are not. You are not sharing the audio. Gosh darn it. Oh. We're going to make this work for you beautiful people. Don't worry. Oh, Lord Almighty. Green, sharing the screen. 5 bourbons you need. Share audio, please. Now, possibly do this again. Well, we'll see if this works, folks. We'll get you there. Let's see if that Welcome, one and all, to the KOE Nation for another 5 Bourbons You Need video here at the
We're
KOE
there.
Nation. I am your King of Extreme, Phil KOE, the Lord of the Scottish Highlands, the Prince and Potentate of the political parlance, and also the Baron of Bourbon himself, here to give you another 5 Bourbons video. But I know what a lot of you are thinking. But Phil, you have already graced and blessed YouTube with a 5 Bourbons video. How could you possibly do this again? Well, it's quite simple. You see, I am going to hand it over to my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only, Tony G, and he is going to give his 5 bourbons you need, folks. And this is post Sweet 16 bourbon tournament. So there is going to be quite the list. So, folks, while I am your Baron of Bourbon, I figured I would hand it over to the one, the only, Tony G, for his 5 bourbons. And without further ado, let's get right on over to Tony G. T, take it away.
Hey there, this is Tony G, and these are my 5 bourbons you need. First up, you got to have your cheap mixer. For me, this is a no-brainer. This is affordable at about $20 a bottle. And honest to goodness, Jim Beam Black tastes amazing neat. You can put this on the rocks, you can drink it straight, but most importantly, you're not going to offend anybody by pouring this in a glass and mixing it with your favorite soda. Does not matter. You can put pop in there, you can put ginger ale, you can put orange juice. Granted, it doesn't matter. This is going to go good with anything. This is a versatile, affordable, cheap bourbon. It's an honest brand, and frankly, it goes good with anything. You can cook with this stuff. This is a great example of a good mixer. Sure, you could go with a regular white label Jim Beam, but let's be frank. This blows it out of the park 100 times out of 100. This just tastes better. It is better. And next time you're in the store thinking, hey, I'm going to grab a bottle of Jim Beam white label, do yourself a favor. Pick the black label instead. This is the cheap mixer that you need. You're never
True.
going to get a bad pour out of it, and it's just going to be happy to drink. Next up, you need a daily drinker, something that you can rely on no matter what the occasion. That's what I've got in my glass right now. Wild Turkey 101. This is a severely underrated bourbon. This came into fruition around the time that college kids wanted something cheap to drink in terms of whiskey. And for better or worse, Wild Turkey kind of became just that bourbon. But it's not just a cheap, get you drunk bourbon. This is a high-class bourbon disguised in a very affordable bottle. This might not be the most top-shelf name brand out there, but at $20 to $30 a bottle, this is one of the better bourbons you're going to get your hands on. And at 101 proof, you don't need to mix this. You don't need to do anything with this. You can throw an ice ball in there, sure, but you don't need to. This is right where it needs to be in terms of proof. And the flavor is there. It's strong. It gets the point across, but really, it's just so delightful to sip on. You don't need a reason to drink this other than the fact that you appreciate a good tasting bourbon, and that's exactly what Wild Turkey 101 is. A really nice, really affordable, smooth, easy drinking bourbon that represents bourbon in the best way possible. Now you need your Friday night pour, something that you can look forward to after a long work week. Come home, pour yourself a nice dram, light up a stogie if that's your thing. What might that one be for me? Old Forester the Statesman. This is so good to drink. I can't describe to you how impressed I was with this one. We put this one right next to the entire line, the 1910, the 1920, the 1897, and the 1870. And for me, this one just kind of embodies the entire line. This one's just so good through and through. The proof is only 95. If you like yours a little bit higher, I understand if this might not be your first choice after a long work week, but you're going to get everything and more in the flavor profile with this one, folks. This one is top shelf. I love this one. This is something you can actually look forward to. I know that this is a great one to gift to someone who enjoys bourbon. This might not be the first one they think of, it. Maybe they've never tried it. This one really kind of shines on its own. aside from the rest of the Old Forester line. So this is one that I really appreciate in terms of deep profile. This one has characteristics of the 1920 offering, but it's just a little bit smoother. It's just a little bit lighter on ABV, and this is always going to be a very, very nice pour. So after a nice long work week, you don't just need to have something to feel different. You might want a little bit of a reward in terms of what you're drinking, and that's what this packs in its punch. A great flavor profile, an honest brand, and just a great bourbon. How about your impress your guests bourbon? You knew it was coming. It doesn't matter if they respect Blanton's, like Blanton's. Everybody knows Blanton's. And even if they don't like Blanton's, they're lying. They do. If you've got a bottle of Blanton's on your shelf, they're going to take you seriously as a good whiskey drinker. You know your stuff. They see that. They're going to respect it, regardless of what they say. Blanton's is just good. It doesn't matter what you think about their marketing tactics, the beautiful bottle, the little horsey. Doesn't matter what you think about the price point or the secondary market. Blanton's is it's just a stellar bourbon, through and through. This is great stuff. This isn't something that you want to burn through an entire bottle one weekend on. This is something you kind of save back once in a while. Not an everyday drinker, not a Friday night drinker for me, but something that you might break out when you have a guest over. Somebody who actually appreciates a good whiskey, wants to drink something neat, wants something with a bit of a top shelf feel. This is it for me. Blanton's, it hits it out of the park. It's got a good flavor. It's got a good nose. There's really not much I can say in terms of bad about Blanton's other than the fact that people exploit the demand for bourbon right now. So it is harder to come across year in and year out, depending on what time of the year it is. But if you can get your hands on a bottle of this, do the right thing, grab a bottle of it, and make sure to share it with somebody who appreciates good whiskey. Last, but absolutely not least, your special occasion bourbon. There is literally not enough time for me to explain to you how much I love Woodford Reserve Double Oak. Specifically this guy right here, Wine, Beer, and Spirits store pick from Lincoln, Nebraska. This thing is just delectable. This is like a bourbon dessert to me. There's nothing that compares to this. In fact, this won our bourbon tournament, hands down. It wasn't even close. Once
It's
this
amazing
thing entered
stuff.
the ring, everybody else may have well just jumped out over the top rope and eliminated themselves because the battle royal was no longer a battle royal.
True.
It was a one-trick show, and this trick right here, there's no magic. This is just great bourbon.
Yes.
The flavor profile is transcendent. There's peanut brittle notes, there's chocolate notes, there's a woodsy oakness, obviously.
Preach it.
The double oak says it right there.
Oh.
Unfortunately, this was a very limited run, and this is probably one of the last bottles around. So you can tell I'm not really going to drink this down very quickly. So I'm not going to share this either. That's not something that I want to do because, I'm going to be a little bit selfish with this one. If the time is right, I have reason to celebrate. Some big milestone has come along my way, and I need a reason to pour myself a dram of that. I'm going to do it. But I'm going to do it for me because I love this bourbon so much. I can't wait to see what their next store pick is like. And if you can only get your hands on a bottle of Double Oak Woodford Reserve, there's nothing wrong with that either. But there's just a little something extra special in this one. And that's why this is the perfect special occasion bourbon. And with that, I thank you.
And there you have it, folks. 5 amazing bourbons that I really can't argue with too many of those picks. 3 of those picks, right on. The Jim Beam Black as a cheap mixer, it's kind of the king of value bourbon as far as I'm concerned. The Impress Your Guests with Blanton's, I really cannot object to that. It's an excellent, excellent idea whenever you got to impress those guests. The Special Occasion Woodford Reserve Wine, Beer, and Spirits store pick, I have no objection to that, Tony. That is A+, spot on. The only ones that I would object to is, well, first of all, your Friday night pour, while Old Forester Statesman is incredible, I'm generally going to go for Loop River Distilling Nebraska Straight Bourbon Whiskey, but that's just me. And also for your daily drinker, you went with Wild Turkey 101. Your proof was correct, but I would simply recommend, yep, you knew it was going to show up, Maker's Mark 101 as an excellent daily drinker. But other than that, Tony's list is spot on post-bourbon tournament. So, folks, that was Tony's 5 bourbons you need. But, folks, thank you for being here and joining us. But, folks, you have no doubt seen my 5 bourbons you need, the 5 scotches you need, the 5 scotches ADHD whiskey edition.
Oh,
I've
that's
also
coming,
got
folks.
the 5 ryes you need, the 5 grain whiskeys you need. And there is another 5 whiskeys coming down the pike, folks. You know it's the right thing. You know we need to do it. So keep your eyes
Yes, you do, Phil.
here on this space. But as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining us here on the 5 Bourbons You Need Tony G edition. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. I hope to see every last one of you back here, happy, healthy, much the wiser. I pray for it, folks, and I hope you do too. God bless. Godspeed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Join us on K.O.E Nation on YouTube and Twitch. You can find Tony over at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. And you can find him at Tony the Rod on TikTok, folks. But, folks, thank you for being here. And with all that being said, the video's so nice I had to outro it twice. I'll catch you on the flip side.
Oh, that was marvelous. I'm sorry, that was a perfect end off to that. That was almost a little too perfect. I will give that a momentary pause. But yes, welcome to the show. But you know, that's another one that we're starting to lose what it means. Like to me, it seems to be another synonym for cool now. Based like, no, yeah, that's fine. If you think someone's cool, yeah, cool. No problems at all. But quite the events last night. If you happen to see them, I'm just standing in the middle like, what's happening? How did this happen? Other than me making it happen, how could this possibly? Oh, it was beautiful. But yeah, the great Greto, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. God bless. Thank you for being here. That was a happening. Let's call it that. I like it. It's a happening. But now, I teased something at the end of that video, folks, and that was that there's 5 more whiskeys. 5 more in a category that we don't know of yet. What would that be? I had to turn to one Tony G to figure out what that category would be. And so without further ado, let's get into the category of the day so we shall see. And oh, god damn it, I'm good. Yes, this was another 5 whiskeys you need, folks.
Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E Nation for another 5 whiskeys you need, Irish whiskey edition. So, folks, you've seen my 5 bourbons you need. You've seen Tony G's 5 bourbons you need. You've no doubt seen the 5 scotches that you need.
Surely.
Phil K.O.E. The 5 rye whiskeys you need.
Of course.
And also the 5 grain whiskeys you need. But there is an essential whiskey that is still missing from this 5 whiskeys you need, and that is Irish whiskey. So I figured that I would turn to the one true expert in Irish whiskey, none other than Tony G, because that man knows his Irish whiskeys. So I figured, you know, while we agree on quite a few things, I think
really Tony's just deep dive omnibus into the world that is Irish whiskey does require a little bit of attention. So without further ado, I am going to hand it off to my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only, Tony G, for his 5 Irish whiskeys you need. Without further ado, Tony, take it away.
Hey there, Tony G.
Hey there, T.
Once again, and these are the 5 Irish whiskeys you need.
If you could only have 5, folks. I know.
First up, you got to have yourself a cheap mixer. If mixing Irish whiskey is your thing, really this is your best option. You'll notice this is a tiny little bottle of Jameson. There's a reason for that, because this is the standard in Irish whiskey for me. When I think Irish whiskey, I think regular, standard, good old triple distilled Jameson. Why does this work as a mixer? For one, it's going to be readily available anywhere you want to go. So if you're thinking Irish cocktail, this is about as good as it gets. Personally, for me, I don't cocktail Irish whiskey. I don't mix it with anything. If I want Irish whiskey, I'm drinking it neat.
Oh, Irish
The only things I'm really
coffees.
going to mix this with myself is maybe a splash of water, some ice. If I really need to dilute it, maybe ginger ale or Sprite. That's when this is going to shine the most if you really need a mixer. But personally for me, this is a good anytime drink. This is a good daily drinker. But if you're going to cocktail, you're going to go for Jameson. Now let's talk daily drinker. When you want something for a daily drinker, you're going to think about 2 things: taste and affordability. This one here, Bushmill Blackbush, this is affordable, and it's pretty readily available about anywhere you're going to go in terms of liquor stores that carry Irish whiskey. Bushmill Blackbush is finished to perfection in sherry casks, so you know you're going to get a little something extra. And if you need
Sherry.
a daily drinker, what better way to do it than have something finished in sherry? There's really not a lot of options out there that are better than sherry. As you can see, I've enjoyed this
I
one
don't think
pretty
there's any
frequently
options
because it's
better.
almost at the end of its bottle life. This is a fantastic one. If you haven't tried this one, do yourself a favor. Grab a bottle of this, and I'll be shocked if you don't find yourself sipping on this on the regular. Friday night pour. Long work week. You need something stiff. You're thinking Irish. What's your Friday night pour going to be? For me, Tullamore Dew 12 year is insanely affordable at $50. And I mean that with all the sincerity in the world. After you've tried this, you'll understand completely what I mean. This is a bottle that could go for twice that easily if you were doing a blind taste test. This is so damn good. Nothing against regular Tullamore Dew. I think it goes great in Irish coffee if you're having a real one. But this stuff, you got to enjoy this neat. You got to have this in a Glencairn to really appreciate how complex and good this one is. If you haven't tried this one, do yourself a favor. Even if you got to seek this one out, drive a little bit or call up a favor to a buddy in another state, doesn't matter. You got to acquire a bottle of this stuff. This is some special juice, and you will not regret it. You got someone coming over, they say they like Irish whiskey, but maybe they're not really seasoned in terms of different brands or different kinds. Maybe they're not familiar with different age statement whiskey. Maybe they only drink Jameson or regular Bushmills. How are you going to impress your guest?
Hey there, Ace Torres. Welcome. Just having this little stream party tonight, going over some 5 whiskeys videos you need.
Single malt Irish whiskey.
God bless
Around
and welcome.
$50 a bottle. I'm not kidding when I tell you this stuff is in a weight class way below what it deserves to be, because this is a really nice, easy drinking whiskey. I've actually had people come down.
And also,
check out
last
my
night was
whiskey.
kind of weird on
I'm
the
like, oh,
the
I'm
streams.
really
Holy
impressed.
shit!
I had them try a 21-year-old Scotch that they thought was really nice. The next thing I handed them.
Well, thank you. God bless. Welcome. Like, share,
Different
subscribe,
people
join the
have
party.
different
It's
21-year-old Scotch gets beaten out by a 10-year-old.
and he is right.
That really says something in terms of how.
But yeah, that was a quite night, wasn't it? Quite an evening.
This is a great one. I definitely recommend it if you even remotely like Irish whiskey. You're gonna love it after you try this one. Now, last but certainly not least, for special occasion.
Ooh, special occasions. Oh, that's so fucking good. It is really good whiskey.
This right here is the pinnacle of Irish whiskey. There's
But
really
yes,
not
thank
a
you.
more respected brand than Middleton. What I've got here myself is the vintage 2019 release. And let me tell you, out of the various ones that I've tried, I think 2019 might, honest to goodness, be my favorite expression in the Middleton line. This one's got a ton going on here. If you can get a bottle of the 2019 and you haven't tried it, definitely pick it up. Doesn't matter what the price point is, because eventually you're never going to find it again. So get it while you can. There's really not a reason not to have a drink of this, other than the fact that once it's gone, it might very well be gone. So that's why I save this one for special occasions. Notice I've enjoyed a bit of it, but it's so good that I don't want to dilute this bottle down that quickly. So I'm taking
Yeah,
my
he just
time.
sips on that
And
one.
that's how you should enjoy this bottle. This is a master class in Irish whiskey. It's Middleton. It says it right here. It's very rare, folks. Come on. They release one expression a year. You've got to appreciate the limited run, right? There's always going to be another bottle the next year, but it's not going to be quite the same. So for me, this is a special one because I like it so, so much. So this is my special occasion Irish whiskey. Those are my 5 Irish whiskeys that you absolutely do need on your shelf. If you disagree with me or agree, let me know in the comments, but let me know overall what you think. I appreciate you coming by.
Thank you, Tony G. That was some incredible whiskeys of the Irish persuasion. That Middleton Very Rare is just, but folks, between you and me, get the Tullamore Dew 12. You'll
Hey, Tom.
actually be
How you been, man?
It's just an amazingly
And yeah,
good
listen to that guy,
whiskey.
too.
Like,
Tullamore Dew.
under
That's the
any
one you need to
way
get.
you want to boil it. If you were just going to have one Irish whiskey,
Yeah, don't
make it
fucking do
Tullamore
that,
Dew
Tom.
12.
I'll catch
That's
you.
just
I'm going to be doing this for a while, but yeah, I'll catch you later.
Just my personal opine, if you will. But so, folks, that was Tony G's 5 Irish whiskeys, folks. So we have been through the journey. You have hit the 5 bourbons you need. You've hit the 5 scotches you need. You've hit the 5 ryes. You've hit the 5 grain whiskeys you need. And we are now here at the 5 Irish whiskeys that you need. And you now know which 5 you need. And folks, I think there's definitely more coming in this particular space of 5 whiskeys. But folks, we're just going to have to see which ones those are. But as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining us this evening for our review of the 5 Irish whiskeys you need. Tony G, thank you very much. Be sure to check him out at Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast on YouTube, and also check him out at Tony the Rod on TikTok. You can find me, Phil K.O.E, on YouTube and Twitch, and also be sure to check us out at Big Fucking Empire. But folks, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. I cannot wait to see you right back here at this space, and I hope and I pray for every last one of you to arrive back here happy, healthy, much the wiser. Godspeed, God bless, and folks, I will catch you all on the flip side.
Oh, that was satisfying. I don't know why that was. That was incredibly satisfying. But that was Tony G. But I think we need to get into a little bit of Phil K.O.E. You've been getting a little bit too,
One and all,
not quite
K.O.E
enough.
Nation, I am.
This was the first ever 5 bourbons
here
video
to
I ever
give
did.
you the 5 bottles of whiskey that you need roundup. This has been something that's been going around on the internet as of late. Started off on Reddit, and it's just taken off like brush fire. And that brush fire has made its way here to the K.O.E Nation. So in an attempt to put it out, I will give you, the K.O.E Nation,
Some heroes don't wear
my
capes.
adoring fans, the 5 bourbons that you need.
God, this is with
Now,
my
I was
old
not the
camera and
person
my
that
old
started
mic.
This. I'm sorry. To me, it's like 5 bourbons. What backwards heathens? But
Agreed.
if we have to limit ourselves to 5, this
Couldn't have
is
said
how
it better
I would do
myself.
folks. So
Wait, I
let's get
did.
started with this bourbon roundup of the 5 bourbons that you need, and the categories are the daily drinker,
the impress your guests, the cheap mixer, or for guests that just wouldn't really appreciate good whiskey anyway, so this is what you pour them. The Friday night specialty pour, and then something that you save back for very special occasions. So without further ado, let's start off with the cheap mixer. Now, to me, this is not one that's cheap, but it is, well, I won't call it cheap. It's inexpensive relatively, but it is an excellent mixer. It just goes well in any cocktail, and that is Woodford Reserve. Just
Amazing
standard,
stuff.
good old Woodford Reserve. Excellent, excellent mixing whiskey. It's an excellent cocktail. I haven't found a cocktail that it doesn't work in yet. I haven't gone so far as to mix it with like multiple fruit juices and such, but any standard whiskey cocktail, you really can't go wrong with Woodford Reserve Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 45.2 rather, alcohol by volume. And I got this $3.75 for, gosh, I think around $17. So not bad for an excellent
Good
whiskey.
value.
But moving on from the mixer, it's what I would consider the peak daily drinker for bourbon. It's a fairly new release, but it's one that me and my family has endorsed thoroughly. And it's one that isn't going to break the bank, but you're going to feel like you're drinking high class here. And that is Maker's Mark 101. You can get this for around $35 a bottle. And it's just a great, I've had a rough Thursday and I need me a dram. As you can see, this bottle is still sealed. It's because we've gone through quite a few bottles of this with the family of Extreme as of late. So
The family of
this one
Extreme.
is thoroughly endorsed by my brothers, my father, just very highly regarded bourbon. Maker's Mark 101, cannot recommend that enough. In fact, I would say that this is one of your better compromise bourbons. You don't have to break the bank, but you do have something very special there to definitely check out. Now we move on to my Friday pour, one that I really enjoy and one that is, as of right now, the bourbon of Extreme. Colonel E.H. Taylor. Amazing. And as you can see, I have been thoroughly enjoying this, but we're
I'm
not.
now, that bottle has since been polished,
And so just
and
in
I'm
case I
getting
don't
to
have
it.
enough to get through the bourbon tournament, which keep your eyes on the space for that. Folks.
We barely did.
But yes, Colonel E.H. Taylor is when I have had a rough week and it's Friday and I just need a good dram. This is what I'm going to turn to. 100 proof, excellent stuff. If you can find it. If you can find it. That's the big problem with Colonel and anything from Buffalo Trace, really. But there's a reason that it's sought after, because it's good. And unfortunately, get used to hearing that for the rest of this video. So now we move on to when guests are over and you want to impress those guests. And these are guests that you know will actually appreciate the whiskey you're pouring. So you're not just pouring them something, cheaper. But when I want to really impress the guests, of course, the big horse comes out. Blanton's. It's
You knew it was
one
coming.
that whenever you want to impress, you pull that out. Even people who aren't all that familiar with bourbon whiskey will at least be interested. Like, oh wow, look at the bottle! Like, and yeah, they'll want to see the cork. That's what I like about this particular barrel. They're single barrel, so they can be a touch. There's a variant. This one was barrel 450 from 3/10/2020 was when it was dumped. And this one is just caramel in a glass, caramel in a glass for our viewers across the pond. But yeah, excellent stuff. And this is the bourbon for when I want to impress my guests. And then one that I save back for a special occasion. Well, before I get to that, for the impress your guest whiskeys, this one, I picked this one up for $61 retail. I don't know what it's going for on the secondary market because I just happen to be lucky enough that there's a store that occasionally gets Blanton's. And so I stocked up. So I got 3 bottles and I don't, I'm not going to go crazy in the secondary market. So, and yes, don't worry, folks. I do actually leave a few bottles when I buy some. So, but yes, excellent stuff. This was the kind of start of the single barrel craze. And what got me into this was not the single barrel or the bourbon craze, just my mother and I were going through some of my grandmother's stuff, and we found a couple of little sample bottles, the 50 milliliter sample bottles of Blanton's. And apparently, from what we gathered from some secondhand accounts, she rather enjoyed this stuff. So I had to find it after that. And it's good stuff. My grandmother also, she loved all of these because the only thing she would ever order to drink was a bourbon press.
Bourbon Presbyterian.
Bourbon, water, 7-Up on ice. She was raised throughout World War II, so if you wanted to party and drink during World War II, you drank bourbon or you probably didn't drink a whole lot. Wasn't a lot. There wasn't as common of beer distribution as there is now, and bourbon could hold for a long time. And it's not like there was a lot of Scotch whiskey coming across the Atlantic during the Second World War. So that all tracks. Now, last but certainly not least, special occasions. This is one that I have pulled out for just special occasions. And for those special occasions, it can be none other than
a cut.
Weller's Antique 107.
I think I had to scratch my nose or cough.
Bourbon. It actually lives up to its secondary reputation. The other Wellers, I'm not sure of. But this one definitely lives up to its reputation. And for very special occasions, somber occasions, happy occasions. This is
been used for all of them.
So I must say, yeah, I mean, I'll probably, if this is still around, I'll probably polish this bottle off Christmas of this year.
It ain't gonna make it to Christmas.
That's
me and my brother been working on that one.
So, folks, these are, if you could only have 5 bourbons. I know, my goodness. These are the 5 that I would recommend, folks. I know it's a little Buffalo Trace heavy. I get it, but good is good, folks. I mean, we can't dispute or deny these bottles sell like they do for a reason. But I'm also trying to throw some attention over here to Maker's Mark 101, truly an ascendant whiskey that's being overlooked. And yes, it's comparable with any whiskey that's here on the table. So I would implore you to take a look at this. And just the best cocktail whiskey you could ever hope for. So, folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, this has been my picks for the 5 bourbons you need. Keep your eyes on this space, folks. Plenty more to come.
As always.
And your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E., signing off and handing it off. Be sure to like, share, subscribe right here so you can keep up with all your K.O.E. content. And thanks for joining me. I'll see you around, folks.
Gosh, Phil, I couldn't have said it better myself. Oh, Lord Almighty. The K.O.E. Nation marches forward, and we march forward to Scotch.
Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E. Nation for another 5 Whiskeys You Need video. It started off as a pretty big trend, and it's made its way here to the K.O.E. Nation. Because, folks, you really need my analysis more than pretty much anybody on the internet. That's why you come here. So, if you're at all a subscriber or a fan of the K.O.E. Nation, which you should be already, like, share, subscribe. Come on, folks. What are you doing? You would already know and be well aware of the 5 bourbons that I have picked out. That should be the 5 bourbons that are just apropos for each of their selective occasions. But I thought, why is Scotch not getting the same love? Why is nobody giving Scotch that same attention? So I thought, well, given that I'm the King of Extreme and the Lord of the Scottish Highlands, I figured...
Titled Lord.
I could do all of you out there, all of you denizens of the web, a huge favor by breaking down the 5 scotches that you need. If you could only have 5,
I know, but if you could only have 5, these would be it. And the categories are your daily drinker, the impress your guest scotch, the cheap mixer scotch, your Friday night drinker, and your special occasion bottle. So let's start off with one that we should all be able to guess. When it comes to the cheap mixers for Scotch whiskey, there is one Scotch to rule them all. There is one cheap mixer that you cannot deny, and that is Johnny Walker Red Label. It is the cheap mixer.
Fight me.
It goes well with cola, goes well with tonic water, goes well with club soda. It just works. It's a good cheap mixer scotch, and you can get these in giant 175s. It will do the job. It is 40% alcohol by volume, and I would recommend. I like Johnny Walker. I just pretty much like anything above the double black. Anything above that, I'm down. But if you're talking about
Gold on
cheap
up is
mixers,
amazing.
Some
more reviews of the Johnny Walker
have
line coming
one that
down
is
the
more
pike, folks.
apropos for this purpose than this whiskey. So moving right along.
I
to
even got a
daily
bottle of
drinker,
Johnny
the one
Walker
that you just had on
XR21.
Wednesday,
I acquired
and
it
you
some
just
time
had to
ago,
cram
before
bed.
things got weird.
The one that I would select is, it's going to be all single malt from here, folks, just in case you're wondering. Cardew 12 year, an excellent single malt Scotch whiskey. Also, Cardew is the base blend for Johnny Walker, but its single malt is an excellent, silky, smooth, just excellent Scotch whiskey. It's going to be about $50 for a bottle, but I think in terms of just, I need a dram, this is the stuff to go to. I cannot complain. Tony G, also a huge fan of Cardew. Pretty much anybody that I've pulled this one out who likes Scotch
Try
whiskey,
Cardew
they're gonna
12.
enjoy it.
It's like the best
Now,
part of Johnny Walker. It's the base
moving
blend.
along
That's
to
what's in Johnny Walker Blue to Johnny Walker
impress
Red.
your
So try
guests.
Cardew
When the guests
12
are over to my house and I want to impress,
or Johnny Walker
there's
Green.
one that I'm generally going to reach for. You knew you were going to see the staghorns eventually here. The
Well,
Dalmore
just keep your eyes. You're gonna like where this
18-year-old.
goes then,
This
if that's
one
what you
will
love.
Impress your guests, folks. And
Dalmore
if
18
you're
is
a
one of my
Dalmore
favorites.
lover or a Dalmore hater, even if you are one of those, I don't even know why. Like, I don't know what could cause such barbarians to promulgate in our society, but people who don't like Dalmore, this one you are still going to enjoy. 18 years old, spends 14 years in a bourbon cask.
Glenn Levet is
then
one of Tony
an
G's
extra
favorite
4
scotches.
years, or anywhere from 4 to 19 years, or in 19, anywhere to 4 to like 6 years in a Methuselah sherry cask. Excellent stuff. It's, I cannot complain. So when I want to impress the guests, and I know that they actually appreciate Scotch whiskey, this is what I'm going to pour. If I know they don't really appreciate Scotch whiskey and they're just wanting to drink something they're going to mix with cola, but right here, if I'm wanting to impress, this is the one I go for. Now, for me personally, for my Friday night pour, we're moving on to that, I reach for something slightly different. Not entirely, but slightly. Dalmore Dominium. What sets Dominium apart is that it's first fill on sherry, which is what their Regalis and Luceo releases all had, as they were first fill of Methuselah, Amoroso, and Apostoli sherries, which does really set them apart. And this one, my goodness, chocolatey sherry is just what you smell when you just open the bottles. Chocolate and sherry and a slight bit of orange, not nearly as much as what you normally get from Dalmore, but a lot of chocolate and a lot of sherry. And so I can understand this isn't going to be for everybody, but for me, this is
Philosopher
my
King
personal
here.
favorite of the now discontinued travel exclusive series. So this is my
Unless it's with
personal
Johnny
preference.
Walker Red,
That's
then have
just
at it.
my go-to for Friday night,
But with a
cram
single,
pours.
you'll like this one.
Now we move on to the special occasion bottle
for Scotch whiskey. Now, this is one I have opened, but I haven't gotten too deep into it because it's only for special occasions. And that would be none other than Glenfiddich 21-year-old Caribbean Rum Cask Reserve. Excellent, excellent stuff. It's basically candy in a glass. I'm just going to those here.
Wow. Such good stuff.
That's a lot. Like, you don't notice the ethanol nearly as much in this one. Now, this one is at 40% alcohol by volume. This one's 43, so you get a little bit more, but mouth-watering just smelling it. It is just so sweet and smooth, and that it's an old whiskey, but it doesn't drink harshly like one. Like, it has that rum really rounds it out. So it's one that I only go for very special occasions. As you can see, I've just barely got it past the shoulder, but that is one that I cannot recommend enough. If you are going to enjoy a Scotch whiskey for a special occasion with special friends, special family, special moments, this is one that I'd recommend. Now, honestly, my brother and I have gone through a bottle of Dalmore 18 over, it took us about 2 months, but we emptied it off. Many a good conversations, many good times. So that's what I could, when it comes to whether you're impressing your guests, special occasion, it can all kind of meld together. But this is my go-to, that if I could only have one Scotch whiskey for each of these different occasions, these would be my choices. Now, I know it's a very big shocker to you that Dalmore showed up more than once. In fact, I thought about just to troll Tony doing this video, but with just Dalmore.
What do you know?
All 5 of them were Dalmore.
Keep your eyes here.
There's none that I could disgrace with being a cheap mixer. I mean, like, even Dalmore 12, you really shouldn't mix. It's that amazing. So I thought, let's be fair.
True.
Let's let a few other folks get in on this. Now, folks, as you can tell from this particular offering, I'm more of a fan of the sweetened, not all that into the peated.
Nope.
We'll get into that another time, folks. Maybe a peated offering.
Highland and Speyside for this guy.
Keep your eyes on this space right here, because we have plenty more content, maybe even another 5 whiskeys video coming. But as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining me for this very special 5 whiskeys video. I am your King of Extreme, the Lord of the Scottish Highlands, Phil K.O.E., signing off and handing it off. All of you beautiful people, raise a glass to yourself. Thanks for joining me, folks.
And we march on as the K.O.E. Nation, together extreme. Yes. Before we let the next video roll through, we got a question from the audience here. So what's the best Scotch to drink while watching the Vaush Destiny Lovers Quarrel for entertainment purposes? Ooh, that one you might want to go for bourbon, because it's easier to get cask strength, because you're going to need something with a little more bite. But I would say, but for Scotch, if it had to be Scotch whiskey, okay, it's something that you want it to be sweet, but you don't want it to be overly aged, because you want to be able to just kind of sip on it. So I would say a Glenlivet 15-year, or a Dalmore 12-year, or, oh goodness, no, or maybe a Belveni, not 14, 15. I'm a big fan of anything above 14 from Belveni. And actually, strangely enough, I just tried my first Campbellton Scotch the other day, and that review is dropping next Saturday. So yeah, I am a big, but yes, to me, I would go with something sweeted, unless you're a big fan of peat. If you're a big fan of the peat, then just go straight Lagavulin. Why not? But yeah, to me, I would say Glenlivet 15 or Dalmore 12 would be where I would go with that one. And that was something. And again, like I don't know if you were here for it when I was talking about like, oh no, there's this argument about fascism, and I'm just in the middle of it. How did this happen? Other than me making it happen, how did this? Oh, that was marvelous. That was marvelous. I had too much fun doing that, and Destiny's a really nice guy. Yeah, you know, and like I said, I told him to his face. To me, this joke is funny as shit. It probably wasn't half as funny to him as it was to me, but fuck it, to me, it was hilarious. Well, I told him, you know, Destiny, whenever you say something that I agree with, my thought is, well, that's clearly the Nebraska talking. I mean, yeah, clearly that's the fact that he was here in Nebraska for so long. That's why he's making sense now, right? You know, and damn it, I'm all shiny. But yeah, so that was a very interesting time, and yeah, the fascism debate. Like when I heard that word getting thrown around like candy, it's like, well, let's get a little more precise here, because I think it was either Socrates or Aristotle that said the first step to proper wisdom is to call things by their proper names, and so I was going to challenge this broad usage, but you know, and keep the questions coming, folks. But also, this is also a party, a celebration of all that is extreme for you to make your lives a little better through extremeness and scotchiness.
Welcome, one and all, to the KOE Nation for a very
This was
special
right after I shaved my head.
5 scotches you need, part 2. So this got started by a certain whiskey aficionado, a certain bourbon.
But yeah, also speaking of special occasions, that Glenfiddich 21, my brother and I, we actually polished that off when we found out that my nephew had become quite ill. And so that was our way of trying to deal with that. My nephew's battling sickness right now. But yeah, so that was, we polished that off the night we all got together as a family and just kind of, this is how we're gonna come together, and then we're gonna battle it when the morning comes. And so yeah, that Glenfiddich 21 served the family quite well.
Master himself won ADHD whiskey, and it spread like a brush fire. He came up with 5 more categories you need for 5 whiskeys that you need. And I thought, you know, why should bourbon get all the fun? And this is also a little preview to the part 2 of the bourbon 5 whiskeys you need once the bourbon tournament concludes, folks. So eyes on this space. But without further ado, we move on to the 5 scotches you need. Now you're going to notice that this is a little particular to one region. Glass is clean, excellent. So we're going to get started. The categories are the entry buzz. What you would drink is your first drink of the night. Then you move on to your current favorite. This can change, but it's the one that you like currently. Then you get into the hipster bottle, the one that you were hip wise to before anybody else really knew about it, and maybe folks aren't quite wise to it yet. Then you've got the jealousy bottle, the one that when your friends come over, you like, ha, 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 check this out. Then, last but not least, your long pour, the one that you can pour at a distance. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, the entry buzz, if I'm going to be drinking scotch that night, what would be a good entry scotch for the evening? And for me, it can be none other than the Dalmore 15. You knew this was going to show up eventually. Come on now. The Staghorns are a must. Dalmore 15 is an excellent first scotch to begin your evening with. And, you know, since I am a titled Lord of the Scottish Highlands, I figured, well, hell, I just as well, start the evening off with a Highland scotch. Now, moving on to my current favorite. It's the one that I really like right now more than any other Scotch whiskey, and that would be, you're going to notice this. These are all single malts, by the way, just to let you know, so maybe I'll throw that in the title. My current favorite is the Dalmore Dominion. Yes, excellent. It's the now discontinued travel exclusive from First Fill.
Yeah, fire off any questions if you got them, folks.
Sherry
About the
butts.
debate about your
And-
King of Extreme. I'm cool.
Lord, you get his little UK exclusive sticker back there. Excellent stuff. First Fill Sherry of Methuselah. This is really the best of the discontinued travel series. So if you get a chance to get your hands on Dominion specifically, excellent stuff. And that is my current favorite single malt Scotch whiskey.
God, this
for
is
the moment.
way better
Now,
than standing and
moving
yelling all
right
night.
Along, this would be the hipster bottle. Now, I knew about this particular bottle the day it was announced. Forget the day it came out. The day it was announced, I sent a message over to Tony. Tony, guess what we need to get the very second it comes out?
True.
And that would be the Dalmore Quintet, the new masterpiece, the new peak of the new travel exclusive series. Yes, the Dalmore Quintet is my hipster. I knew about it before anybody else really did. I was hip and wise and cool to it. Really,
I think hip might be a very unhip word to say now, unfortunately.
I was way ahead of the curve on this
Might have
one,
dated
so
myself a little bit
had
there with
to,
the word hip.
Let you all know about that one. Now, my jealousy bottle. I know what you're thinking. Gonna see some more staghorns here. No.
Nay.
Changing it up here slightly. My jealousy bottle is my Gordon and MacPhail Dalmore Distillery 14-year cask strength bourbon cask aged edition. Connoisseur's choice. Excellent stuff. This is Dalmore Distillery from 2005, 57.6% ABV, 255 bottles to this particular little batch here. And yes, refilled bourbon barrels, aged 14 years, single malt Scotch whiskey, non-chill filtered, natural color. Only 255 bottles of this particular flavor on God's green earth. So yes, when somebody comes over who I know is also a fellow Dalmore freak, I am going to drop this particular bottle in front of them and be like, oh dear goodness, ain't that just beauteous? There you go. You can see it a little bit better, but hey, I'll give you a nice, there we go. Nice close-up look of this beauteous bottle.
There we go.
So this is one I'm really looking forward to getting into, but I'm waiting for a very special occasion to even crack the seal.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get into that one. It's still sealed.
Last one, a long pour bottle, one that you can count on to pour at a length without much spill. Oh boy, here we go, folks. Well, to be frank, that is any bottle of Dalmore you can count on to be your long pour bottle. So I've got just a nice little chunk here.
This whole video was just a troll, Tony. He was shocked that Hey, look at that shit.
Long pour.
Look at that shit.
Dalmore.
I don't do this often, but
long pour of the Dalmore 18-year-old. Yes. Wash me in your jealousy. Wash me in your judgment. And hey, I only spilled like.
Good God. I couldn't have fucked that up any worse if I tried. There we go. Let's see. I was about to say. Freaking frickles. Frickety frackles. There we go. We're almost there. We're almost there, folks. There we go. It's almost like I'll learn how to make the internet work someday. Okay, and there we go.
Chunk here.
Look at motherfucking Jesus! Yes, look at that shit.
Long pour.
Yes,
the Dalmore.
Totally worth it.
18-year-old. Yes. Wash me in your jealousy. Wash me in your judgment. And hey, I only spilled like a few drops. Beautiful. So, folks, these are the 5 Scotch whiskeys you need, part 2. So, folks, be sure to like, share, subscribe right here at the K.O.E Nation, and be sure to let me know if you think my picks were a little centric to one Scotch whiskey region,
personally, I don't think I had enough Dulmore represented here. So let me know how you think I did. But, you know, folks, I am a lord of the Scottish Highlands, so I've got to represent the Highland Scotch whiskey region. So, folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining me for this very special video of the 5 Scotch Whiskeys You Need, Part 2. I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E., and I will catch you on the flip side. Oh, I love that song. And it's copyright free. It's Persephone Retro Funky Sundance Remix. Use it on your own videos. All you gotta do is give the guy shout outs. He's fucking totally cool. So, yeah, I always give artists that just let you use their music copyright free.
One and all
shout
to
out.
KOE Nation for another 5 Whiskeys You Need.
The Rise.
Rye edition. So, you've undoubtedly seen my 5 scotches and 5 bourbons you need. So I thought, really, we need to move on to another great grain whiskey, and that is rye. So I thought, well, what would be the 5 ryes that you need?
Only 5.
And I was thinking, well, who better than Phil K.O.E. to give all of you beautiful people that essential information? So without further ado,
Couldn't have said it better
let's
myself,
get
Phil.
right into it. So the 5 ryes you need, and the categories are cheap mixer,
The categories
daily
are
drinker, your Friday night pour, your impress your guests, and last but certainly not least, special occasions. So to me, I was thinking, what would be a good cheap mixer? This one was actually the winner of me, Tony, and Chicken's first ever get-together where we did a 10 rye flight. And shockingly, the winner was Bullet Rye. And
Who'd have
this one
thunk it?
is one of the least expensive. So I figured definitely add that one. It's a great mixer. You can sip on it. You can put it on the rocks. There's a lot you can do with that. And this is also one that if you throw a dash into a pan when you're frying some vegetables or something, you're not going to feel quite as bad versus some of the other whiskeys on this list. So then we move on to the daily drinker. I don't drink every day, but if I were to pour a dram every day at the end of the night and it were to be a
I
rye,
drink when I stream.
it would really have to be
And I'm streaming.
Pendleton 1910 12-year-old rye. Just excellent stuff. Again, not going to break the bank. Canadian rye whiskey. And yes, aged 12 years. Standard 40%, 9 or 80 proof. My family is a lover of Canadian whiskeys, so I think that's why this Canadian pure rye kind of appeals to me. That and the age statement is excellent. 12 years Canadian rye. So this would be one that I would pour daily if I did daily drink. I've had this bottle for a little over a year now. So moving on to the Friday night pour. Okay, so it's Friday night. I've had a long week, and I'm just getting home, and I want a good dram of rye before I get into my evening. What I would probably go for, High West Rendezvous Rye. Just a great rye whiskey that doesn't offend. It's just rolls down without a heavy burn, but it's good. I like this particular idea. I just love everything that I've had from High West thus far. But this would be my Friday night pour. Gotta keep my singing voice in fetch, folks.
That was actually tea.
Then we move on to the Impress My Guest whiskey. Now, for those
It was a little
who don't
early in the
know, I am
day
from the state
when I was
of
recording that.
Nebraska. So the reason I bring that up is my Impress My Guest rye would be Spirit World of Omaha, Nebraska's store pick Woodford Reserve rye. As far as I know, this is the only store pick rye whiskey in our state's history, as far as I'm aware. If you know of another store pick rye whiskey that's ever hit here in Nebraska, let me know in the comments section. I would be fascinated to hear it. But as far as I know, this is the first one. The first ever rye store
Ned
pick in our
almost lost
state's
my
history
voice.
would be an excellent impress your guest piece. And also just a great conversation piece. I mean,
Yeah, that's the first
this,
rye in
it's
our
the
state's
first ever
history, as far
rye
as
in
I
our
know.
state's history. And yes, if you live in Nebraska, something like that would be an impress your guest. And so, yes, Woodford Reserve, Spirit World, store pick rye would be my pick for the impress your guest. And then last but certainly not least, the special occasion rye, the rye that has impressed above all else. Well, folks,
You
you
know where
paid
this is
any
going.
attention to this channel at all, you're not going to be at all surprised by this pick. Mitcher's Single Barrel Straight Rye Whiskey. Amazing, amazing stuff. It's not a break the bank whiskey either, but Tony and I are blown away by this rye. It's just, I cannot put forward the idea enough that you really need to get a bottle of this if you're thinking about getting into rye whiskey at all. Mitcher's Single Barrel Rye really is transcendent from what I've ever thought ryes could do. So, as it stands right now, these would be the 5 rye whiskeys you need. But keep your eyes on this space, folks, because this is kind of a preview of things to come. We've done the bourbon tournament here at KOE Nation, and now we're moving on to the ryes. We are going to figure those out again because Tony and I have added a lot of ryes to our collections. As you can see, these two were not in the previous 10 rye flight. So there's been some dissent within the KOE Nation.
That has actually been solved, and that will be actually premiered to all of you beautiful people tonight. How we are going to determine the rye of extreme. Oh my God, my liver is actually, this is making my liver quiver. I am almost, but no, Tony and Chicken, they've all agreed. All three of us are bringing our powers combined, and they want to do a 32 single one-on-one matchup, 32 rye whiskeys in one-on-one matchups into a basic bracket tournament to determine each one of them. You know how a 32 or a Sweet 16 or an Elite 8 tournament works, and they want to do 32 fucking ryes, and when we get done with it to number 1, that will decide the rye of extreme. Chicken's collecting, Tony's collecting. Tony just added Russell's 6-year rye to his collection just today. So we're going to see which one wins. I'm looking forward to it because the idea is then once we drink all these other rye bottles down, we know which is just the one we got to keep on the shelf. And that's information that we can give to you, the consumer. Now, there's a couple I'm really looking forward to. Brickway Distillery out of Omaha, Nebraska just had its first rye whiskey released. Soldier Valley out of Omaha also has a rye whiskey, but so there's 2 rye whiskeys available in Nebraska, and they are both going in to this 32 elimination tournament to determine. And Chicken's gathering 4 Iowa ryes. We're gonna get deep into this. I picked up a bottle of Sazerac on top of what we already got, which is considerable. I mean, as you can see, I got some ryes already. But yes, folks, we're gonna have a 30 fucking 2 rye elimination tournament. Me, Tony, and Chicken, our powers combined, Captain Planet style. And when we are done, we will be able to tell you what's the rye of extreme. The bourbon of extreme, we'll get into that. We actually did the Sweet 16 bourbon tournament, and the results were shocking. And we'll get into that a little later, folks. Don't want to spoil the surprise if you ain't already seen it. But yeah, that was very, very interesting. And we did that in a series of 4 whiskeys versus 4 whiskeys versus 4 whiskeys versus 4 whiskeys. And then those the winners of those faced off in a final four. And me, Tony, Chicken, we did that over WrestleMania weekend. And Justin Chris of the Yanked Up podcast on YouTube also stopped by. Justin Chris, God bless him. Like, I'll come on to his podcast anytime. I don't care. Like, he's this very small channel with not a lot of subscribers, but he just loves it and he loves to grill and he's just a good salt of the earth guy. So yeah, Yanked Up podcast on YouTube. Give that guy a check out. He's just a good guy. And he's starting up a thing about grilling because that's his thing. He works concrete. He makes good concrete foundations. He's a hardworking man. And then when he gets home, he wants to grill. And he knows his shit about grilling. Like, he makes baked beans on a grill. So at Yanked Up Podcast, now they're doing like grilling up yanked style. So it's guys, acronym. And yeah, he does. Yeah. He's next level on grilling, cooking. But yeah, now we're going to finish this off. And then there's just one more, folks. And then we have done it together.
LEG,
and it's the grain whiskeys. And since I'm a corn farmer, motherfuckers, we're giving the fucking grain, which is usually corn, it's motherfucking due. Oh!
Against each other.
I think another a lot better than it should have.
16 rye tournament. So, folks, let me know in the comments section which one you would like to see. Sweet 16 rye tournament, or we go back to the classic 10 rye blind flight and we see who wins from that. But folks, I'm glad that we could come together a little bit and just discuss rye whiskey, an amazing, amazing product, and one of the products that was essential to the founding of America. One of our main products that we created was rye whiskey, because especially in the Northeast, that was the weather conditions were just conducive for rye. So it's not only excellent whiskey, but it's also excellent history, if you're into that. But folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining me here at the K.O.E Nation. Be sure to check me out on YouTube and Twitch, K.O.E Nation, for our 5 rye whiskeys you need. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow me here for all your K.O.E content. Until next time, folks, see you around.
God, I love that song. It's stuck in my head now. Like, I use it on a lot of videos just because it was my first copyright-free song I found. I found a couple more that I'm using, but I really like that song.
Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E Nation for another 5 whiskeys
the final,
you
folks.
Need video.
We're gonna make it there together.
Grain whiskey edition. I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E, and we are going to get even deeper into the 5 whiskeys you need. We've covered bourbon, we've covered scotch, we've now covered rye, and I figured we're leaving out grain whiskey. And considering I am a corn farmer, well, I've got to give it its proper due. So without further ado, let's get right into the 5 grain whiskeys you need. But before we do, be sure to like, share, subscribe right here at K.O.E Nation on YouTube. And be sure to check me out, K.O.E Nation, on Twitch as well. My kingdom expands, folks. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So, the cheap mixer. Well, the categories are cheap mixer, daily drinker, your Friday night pour, the impress your guest whiskeys, and then a special occasion whiskey. So, my cheap mixer would be none other than Mellow Corn, Heaven Hill Distillery, Kentucky Straight Corn Whiskey. Good stuff. Very muted nose, which
great
is
kitchen
very
whiskey.
Typical of Heaven Hill. It's a decent corn whiskey, and it is not going to break the bank. It will be well below $20. Probably, like, I've seen it as low as like $12, $15 in some places. Bottled in bond, 100 proof. It would be a good mixer. Just it'll go with cola if you have to. And also, this is one of my premier kitchen whiskeys. This is one that I'll soak meats in. You'll get a lot of good out of it if you just appreciate it for what it is. Now, moving on to a daily drinker. Got to give a shout out to Nebraska here. Loop River Distillery, Howard Hooch, unaged corn whiskey. This stuff is unaged, but its nose is amazing. It just smells so much like corn. Like, this is muted. This is...
It's like sweet corn in a bottle.
Accentuated. You can really smell, taste, just, it's corn. Like, I don't know how else to describe this, but Howard Hooch, here in Howard County, Nebraska, we pour our hearts into our grain and our grain into our glass. Distilled from corn grown on our own farm, Howard Hooch is an old-fashioned corn whiskey made for the drinker who enjoys traditional quality spirits. Down to earth with a hint of sweetness. Well, it's more than a hint. The unaged essence of this bold spirit speaks to the Nebraskan in all of us.
And all of
now
us.
what's fascinating is
I think they should
this
just print it like that on the
bottle.
bottle. In all of us.
Base for their bourbon, which their bourbon's also very good. Check it out. But this as a grain whiskey, I would
their
say
bourbon
it makes for
crushed Colonel H. Taylor. I never thought I'd live to see the day.
You feel like you need to have just a little dram. This one goes good neat on the rocks, mixed with any cola or what have you. This one just works. And because it's unaged, there's some folks whose stomachs don't exactly respond well to
fucking grade A editing
aging,
there.
so might be up some folks' alley.
Jesus Christ.
Got to keep my singing voice in fetch. So now we move on to the Friday night pour. And this is one that I enjoy. It's simple, it's approachable, it's sweet, but it's not overbearing in any one regard. Woodford Reserve Wheat Whiskey. And this will be one of the few grains that I think are made almost entirely of wheat, or at least predominantly wheat. And so when we're talking grain whiskey, we gotta give wheat a little bit of a nod. My grandmother comes from Kansas wheat farmers, so gotta give a shout out to all of them. So I gave my fellow Nebraska corn farmers a shout out, Kansas wheat farmers, and all of America's wheat farmers, and specifically Kentucky corn farmers as well. So yes, it's just a great general pour. I'm just gonna take a quick nose. Yes, it's got a very sweet, subtle. You do get, I don't like, almost the slightest hint of cherry, but not too much, not too much. I really, really enjoy this one as a Friday night pour, and yeah, I can't say anything bad about it. Its price point, I can't remember. I think it's about $35-40. So not the cheapest on the list, but an excellent one for a Friday night pour. Now we move on to Impress Your Guests whiskey. And for that, I turn to Nika Coffee Grain Whiskey. It's distilled in a coffee still, and from what I've heard, this is 95% corn. They use malted barley for the other 5%, so they get the natural enzymes. They don't have to insert those. I really like that idea. And also, as an American farmer, their corn is imported. Maybe it's some of our corn in there. I'm not quite sure. And Nika, there you go. There's a great idea. Maybe put on there where the grain comes from. American consumers will be more likely to buy the American bottle, and like folks from other corners of the world will be likely to buy their grains bottle. Just an idea. But yes, excellent stuff. Wow. Punching sweetness, like smells like candy. It really does just have a candied sweetness to it. So I cannot recommend that one enough. It's gonna be pricey. This one cost me over $60. So keep in mind, Japanese whiskeys, Nika and the like, they don't go for cheap. And then my special occasion whiskey is one that I just personally enjoy. And that would be Teeling single grain Irish whiskey, and also finished in wine casks, non-chill filtered. Excellent, excellent stuff. 46% ABV, Teeling grain whiskey. Let's just take a quick nose here. Yeah, you get a very strong wine. I wonder what kind it was. Probably Cabernet Sauvignon barrels, but mouth is watering just thinking about that last one. And it's a very, very good just sipping whiskey. I wouldn't even put it on the rocks. I wouldn't mix it or cocktail it with anything. And it is a bit pricey. But for those special occasions, like if there's a thunderstorm passing out in front of my house, I'll just pour a dram, stand under my porch and watch it. And that's a special occasion to me. And Teeling single grain whiskey really, really exemplifies that. So folks, as a corn farmer, if I had to guess, these four are mostly corn, and this one still has some corn in it. So what can I say? I got to give my fellow corn farmers some love. But yes, this is a great list. If you want to get into grain whiskey specifically, Kentucky, they've got some great stuff with mellow corn and some other options. But for the cheap mixer, this one works. For the daily drinker, I got to give Nebraska some love. And then for the Friday night pour, if you're a fan of this station, you know I'm a fan of Woodford. So this shouldn't shock you at all. And then to impress your guests, Japanese Nika coffee grain whiskey. Definitely some good stuff. And then last but certainly not least, Teeling Irish single grain whiskey for your special occasions. When you've got somebody over that you just need to talk about life and truth, the ups and downs of this beautiful journey that we call life. Grain whiskeys, they've been for us more than a lot of us even know. So, folks,
True.
As I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining us for our 5 grain whiskeys you need right here at the K.O.E Nation. Be sure to like, share, subscribe on YouTube, and follow K.O.E Nation on Twitch. I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E, signing off and handing it off to all you beautiful people. Till then, catch you on the flip side.
Whew, that was fun. That was fun, wasn't it, folks? Oh, Lordy, we made it together. We got through the collection of the 5 whiskeys you need that are currently available at K.O.E Nation on YouTube, folks. Right there. Yes, K.O.E Nation on YouTube. Folks, we did it. We did it together. You, me, all of you beautiful people. We got there. God, I love you people. I love all of you people in the K.O.E Nation. You're just, God bless every one of you. You're the best. I couldn't ask for anything better out of any fandom under any, really anything. Honestly. I mean, like, God bless every last one of you. Let's see here. Where are you at? See y'all, of course. Folks, so we made it through all of that without a nary a trouble, and well done, all of you beautiful people. So those are the 5 whiskeys you need. And then, folks, there's just a few short minutes left of one more video that I want to get through because we've never definitively got through it on a live stream, and I'm going to do it with you beautiful people. And if there's any questions you want to ask, please bring it, folks. The water's fine. I love it. Yeah, I don't bite. It's like Austin Powers. I don't bite. Huh? Like, oh God, that's like, but yeah, that's no, it's all good. It's all good, folks. It's all good. So let's see if this one works.
Yeah, now let's go over chicken. What'd you give, eh?
So I gave Mitchers a 1.
A 1.
Wow.
Tony, what'd you give it?
I gave it 3.
You gave it 3. I gave it 2. So thus far, Mitcher's between 1
3.
and 2. So thus far, it's got
We're gonna finish this one to find out who the budget
6
bracket
points.
winner is here on the
Okay.
live stream.
B.
Then tomorrow we're getting
Jim
further.
Beam Black. What? Did
But I'm
you
gonna
give
get
it?
into
Chicken
the
Beam?
Vaush Destiny
Gave it
debate
3,
after this
Tony?
video is
I
concluded,
can't believe I
folks.
gave it a 4.
Nice.
So did I.
Wow.
So Jim Beam Black is 11 points.
Wow.
Which is going to be really tough.
I'll
to
give you
unseat.
that, Phil. You kind of predicted Jim Beam Black was the surprise here, and so far, it's
Well,
looking like
it's
you're
just
right.
so sticky sweet,
It-
and it's so easy, and it's 17 bucks,
That was-
by the way.
Yeah, I fought with that one and 4-point pick. Back and forth quite a
Yeah,
We'll
bit.
get there.
it is surprising.
Now, C, Evan Williams, White Label. What did you give C?
I gave it a 2.
2, Tony?
Too.
2, and I gave it 1. So Evan Williams White Label gets 5 points. Wild Turkey 101 for D. Chicken, what did you give it?
I gave it 4 points.
4 points. Tony, what did you give it?
I thought this was going to be a 4-point for me. I'm honestly embarrassed because this is one of my favorite daily drinker bourbons. It got a 1 from me on a blind.
Wow. Now,
I'm-
that's why we do these blinds. So I gave it 3. So you gave it 4.
So a
So
total of
it
8.
got 8 points. And so, folks, the final tabulation scores. The eliminations are as thus. The lowest score, Evan Williams, White Label. Now, Tony, it is fair to say we gave Heaven Hill every opportunity.
More than a fair
Yeah.
shot.
So, Chicken, will you put that off into the island of misfit bourbons?
Yeah.
All right, with a total of 5 points.
Yeet!
The next lowest scoring, kind of shocking, Mitcher's Bourbon. But,
I did not expect that to win.
I think it's coppery metallic palate kind of. And that, and it was our first drink of the day. Might have
Yeah.
put it at a little bit of a disadvantage. But nonetheless, excellent stuff, but did not make it. Then it was actually fairly close, but not as close as I thought it was going to be. 8 points for Wild Turkey 101. An amazing bourbon, but it did not.
Hello.
Okay.
Welcome,
Lost
welcome.
11 points
Come one, come all.
to Jim Beam Black. So, folks, this one is moving on to the final
Apparently,
four
Jim Beam Black.
of the Sweet 16 Bourbon Tournament. And this is the dark horse of the whole tournament. This
I'm
one,
surprised. I do like it. I'm just a little shocked here that I didn't get a higher score for 101 because I'll tell
And
you
apparently
honestly, right
debating
now,
on the internet.
with both of those on my shelf, I'm still going to reach for the Turkey 101 more often than I reach for this.
Was there a little bit of
This is
controversy that I
shocking.
found myself
now
in
what's
last
funny
night?
is you two were so vastly different. While this was chicken. So maybe
Oh, God.
the
I've been
lowest
looking
score
all
for
over.
you.
All I got's Weller's
Now, Tony, do you think
107,
it might have to
but I
do with the
did
fact
get a
that maybe like a
bottle
week
of
and a half
Elmer
ago
T.
you
Lee that
had
I got
maybe
stashed. I'm looking forward to that one.
101.
No, well, I did a couple.
And I got it for
weeks ago, basically
70
drink a
bucks.
Bar at a Turkey 101, so there's probably a little palate fatigue there, but I think part of it was the fact that it was at the end of the line.
But yeah, Pappy, I
So-
need to get my hands on.
That last one, I'm trying to score it fairly in my
True.
head, and I went back through. and
Try
I
Johnny
kinda-
Walker Green.
I don't know, but by then
Half
you've
the
got
price.
The proof so
15-year-old.
tongue. So I think placement in the line did factor in here, but I mean Jim Beam Black did just win this fairly.
Yeah, and so Jim Beam Black, the
Wow.
shocker. Like when we did the Jim Beam line, I was just like, why are we even bothering with this? And I was, don't judge a book by its cover. Aged 8 years, good stuff. And
Almost there.
again, $17.
Yeah.
You really can't beat that kind of
No,
price.
that's a
So,
solid-
Cheapest
solid
of
bourbon.
the 4.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would be.
yeah, by
Well, and actually, yeah,
Couple of
because you
bucks
got
in it.
that for me in like a gift pack,
yeah.
and it came with a couple
Christmas
of
time.
glasses, so I think it was $20. So normally, yeah, you're looking about $17. You're gonna find that in
Nice.
most like Walmarts or
Yep.
even general stores, the gas stations.
So, folks, we have decided which one is moving on in the final four, but we are not even close to done yet. Keep your eyes on this space. There's plenty more to come at the bourbon tournament. Now, Chicken, anything you'd like to tell the people?
No, appreciate you guys having me. This is fantastic, especially if you're saying under $20.
Yeah.
This is Go get yourself a bottle. It ain't gonna hurt you. This is good stuff.
Yeah. Tony?
I'm still shocked, and I'm a little disappointed in myself, but it was a fair chance, and it is what it is. Jim Beam Black, I applaud you.
Well, folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining us for the opening round, the opening battle of the bourbon tournament, and there is one left standing in the budget bracket. Jim Beam Black moves on to the final four. I am your King of Extreme and the Baron of Bourbon himself, Bill K.O.E., signing off, handing it off. Catch us around, folks. Chicken, Tony. There you go. The K.O.E. Nation marches on, 'cause we're totally fucking awesome. Yes, that happened. Oh, Lord Almighty. Yes. Starman 314. Welcome to the after party. Got to go back over a couple of these. What's good? Apparently, Jim Beam Black, according to that video, definitely. Oh, good Lord! Knock it off. I said no. I said stay. Bad YouTube. YouTube, you can always count on it to not. It's like an unruly, like newly adopted puppy. You can count on it to just misbehave. But so apparently, Jim Beam Black, you're a Pappy, man. I've never had Pappy. Like I said, I've only got Weller's 107, but I was able to find a bottle of Elmer T. Lee. It was a new employee that set it on the shelf just for standard MSRP. One of the other employees that wasn't even working there that day wanted to save it back and buy it, and I just happened to grab it for $70. So, I'm happy about that one. Walker Blue, very choice. Try Johnny Walker Green, half the price. Amazing stuff. It's a blend of a couple of different distilleries, 15-year-olds, and it's very good stuff. Then, I followed last night after watching Vaush paint himself into a corner. That is, in fact, what again, if you're going to use too broad of terms, people are going to call you on it. And like, again, when I said, so how many Republicans, what percentage of Republican voters would you say are fascists? And I said, well, how many voted for Trump? Okay, we've got a number. And at that point, it didn't really take a whole lot of brain power to beat that. So it's like I said earlier, it's like GSP. It's like a pleasure to make your acquaintance, but I am not impressed by your performance. That was it was all right. But other than that, folks, we made it even through that one together. But the debate. If you see me doing this is just me sitting back in delight and just watching, like, yes, this is beautiful. This is gorgeous. Now again, I get the impression, call me crazy, I might be a little off base here. Tell me if I'm just painting wild conspiracy. I think Vaush and Destiny don't really get along. Am I off base on that? I think that, like, there was one point where I was thinking, this isn't about fascism, is it, guys? There's some more. It was almost brutal. And then I'm sorry, like, I'm wondering who paid to have me muted after I did the whole when he was going off about the butterfly ballots. I was like, well, they're the butterfly ballots are turning the chemicals are turning the butterfly ballots gay, and like I was saying, he's going all Alex Jones on me, and I didn't drop blue anon. I totally forgot. Like, when there's just a perfect phrase and you totally
space it. But like I said, there's another reason I'm in here. The AC repairman don't get to my house till tomorrow, and my AC's busting. I was sweating my fucking ass off last night, but I was the picture of sartorial resplendency because I was on a panel and I always want to represent myself well. Here tonight's a little more laid back. I'm in the middle of extreme, just kind of hanging out with all you beautiful people. And it was a really fun time, but yeah, brutal. And it was, at that point, I was just kind of having fun. And, Destiny, really nice guy. Now we're both from Nebraska, so we're gonna have that, like it doesn't really matter. Even if we disagree on a lot of stuff, it's still gonna be like, well, he's fucking Nebraska, so fucking A right. So we're just gonna have that rapport. That was the vibe I got. Yeah, they don't generally get along all that well. I like, again, it's kind of like when you see people fight. It's like, this isn't about the bag of cheese, is it? No, this is a little bigger. This is a little bigger. Starman 314, Vaush speaks very well. Yes, he's very eloquent. I wouldn't be surprised if he was in radio, but the nonsense he was spewing was just plain goofy. That is Starman 314. Oh yeah. I'll just go ahead and say this. Very eloquent speaker, and he's somebody that wants your attention and wants deference. So like if he would have been born a few decades back, he would be like the perfect candidate to be that televangelist preacher, and you will learn the love of the Lord. Now for $19.95 a month, we can send you these anointed prayer towels. Like, yeah, that would be right where he would that would be perfect, right up his alley. Just a few decades back. So he's very eloquent, very good speaker. And like very quick to morally condemn people like on very spurious grounds. So yeah, that's right up a 1980s televangelist preacher. Like I was wee little, like it was kind of funny. And we were also talking about the Florida election. Like I hate to say, I kind of felt like the old man on that panel because like it's all these little children. It's like they're all in their 20s and shit. Like, and I'm like, oh, God damn. I was like 14, 15 when the 2000 election went down. And I was like, okay, then yeah, you remember even like as like, yeah, the ballot was fucked up and it was fucked up for everybody. And a fucked up ballot doesn't benefit nobody. And yeah, it was painful watching the kids try to argue. And it's like, God damn, like, now, again, a little unrelated, but we I was one time on a panel where they were talking about raising kids and what you do with kids and stuff, and then I had to do the, excuse me, who here on this panel has ever raised any children? Anybody? Can I see a raise of hands here? Oh, what do you know? It's me. I'm the only one? Huh? Fuck, that's, so yeah, it's kind of funny, but yeah. Like I remember Vaush was saying, like I was 4 when the Florida election happened, or maybe maybe he was a little older, but it's like, dude, I've always been very active in politics. When I was very, very young, my family, like members of my family would get the Limbaugh letter, and so I'd read that, and it gets you at least thinking in terms of politics, which is always good. And then when I was 14, I read the book 1984 by George Orwell, and I knew it was, I was like, okay, I need to put all my eloquence and all my power into doing what I can to prevent this world from that George Orwell painted in this book from ever becoming manifest in reality. That is pretty much the first moral commandment of any good human being. Is once I read that, I was it was totally different, but made me want to pull the car over and come back. Like, I'll come back there, you kids. But graduated in 96. So wow, all right, you got some time and experience on me. I've getting just some of my first gray hairs even. So is what it is. But But yeah, I was like, no, I was alive and well, and like in the same stream of consciousness I am right now when that fucking election went down. And no, it was fucked up for everyone. It didn't benefit any one person. And so yeah, that was a lot of inference and a lot of, but yeah, so I enjoyed it. It was a good time, but I knew it was getting bad when Vivian was agreeing with me that, you know, Vaush was really misusing the was really misusing the term fascist. And shockingly, like the last time me and Vivian were on a panel, we got along really well. The first time we did not get along very well because the American flag became the issue. But the second time we got along really well. And then this time, this last time, I'd say it was about 50-50, you know, which, hey, that's fair enough. And, you know, like Viv, God bless. She actually donated to the hashtag Oliver Strong cause for my nephew who's battling pediatric cancer. Yeah, look that up, and I'll drop in the chat here in a little bit when I actually I think I can find it right there. There we are. Yep. Let's see if I can drop that in the chat in the moment. Paste. Let's see. Yep, there you go. Those are the GoFundMe's for my nephew. If you'd like to help out, 8-year-old kid battling pediatric cancer. But yeah, even Vivian donated to that, and it's just one of those, like, after we had a really bitter disagreement, and it's one of those things that's like, God, just when you think you know people, and like there's people here in my local town in my own life that on the complete other side of the coin have had very shocking behavior, which I'm not going to get into that right now, but like and it's just one of those like just when you think you know people, they shock you, they surprise you. And so that, you know, God bless to anybody out there, that especially within the sound of my voice, of course. But yeah, Viv was with me on that, and I got GSU. Thank you for being the court stenographer. God bless. That was amazing. You came in and just like, no, Vaush, it turns out you did say this, and because actually, I was thinking about it later today. Vaush was literally, actually, intentionally trying to gaslight members of the panel. Now, people think that gaslighting is just like kind of like a concealed form of lying, but no, what gaslighting actually is trying to deny what people actually know to make them think they're crazy or to undermine their own confidence in their own mental stability. And this started off, I think it was a short story or a novel where there's this guy that's trying to make his wife go insane, and like he'd put up this big painting on the wall and he'd talk about what, like, oh, look at this beautiful painting, and they'd have people over and they'd look at the painting and, oh, that's so amazing, and yes it's beautiful. And then when everyone would leave, he'd take the painting down and the wife would come in and go, well, where's the painting? What are you talking about? There was never any painting there. And then she's just kind of and she slowly, and he keeps doing these same exercise to the point where she does start to question. And that's actually what gaslighting is denying what somebody actually knows. And when we were saying, no, you said if they voted Republican, then that qualifies as fascist. No, no. Where did I say that? I never said anything of the type. So and there was several other examples if you want to go back and watch it. And Thank you, Starman. Thank you. And that's one thing I noticed Destiny did that was very persuasive. Now, I'm always one to try and track persuasion. And what Destiny did to not allow the gaslighting is he pulled the panel. Okay, show of hands. Who thinks that happened when I said that? And then there's certain amount of folk, like, and I was like, well, yeah, I think that's pretty much what happened. And so when there's 3 or 4 hands, he sees like, okay, there's at least a few motherfuckers here that agree with me. So all right, motherfucker. And yeah, that was not impressive when it was trying to be walked back so much. It's like, well, I never even said any such thing. And like he was even making jokes about, wouldn't it be great if we got rid of all Republicans? And again, with like when far leftists make those kind of jokes, you always wonder how much of a thin veil there is there, because it's the rhetoric's been getting really fucking over the top lately, and I would really like the temperature to come down. So fucking weird talk like that. Wouldn't it be great to get rid of, like, no, that's awful. That's awful. So Starman, I have no idea who most of these people are. I'm new to these. Yeah, same to me. I like started just like a few months ago. I'm a farmer in Nebraska. I like just I started podcasting with my buddy Tony, doing the Revolutionary Wrestling podcast. Actually, we did our first podcast here in this mill, strangely enough, because again, the Wi-Fi is so fucking good here. And yeah, and then we started doing politics during COVID, because fuck, what else you gonna do? And so we were all streaming politic, and we started liking that. And then people told me I needed to get on stream. One night I was on the Tomfoolery show, and his room got raided, and I was there doing, I was doing that. To quote one of the greatest movies of all time, I was doing that voodoo that I do so well. And it was amazing time. And then I got on, and then I made it to Dylan's panel, Dylan Burns, which glad to hear he's back in the saddle. If you hear this, Dylan, God bless. Glad to hear sun shines back in your soul again. But yeah, that was... we've been praying for you. The Nebraska crew here has been praying for you. But yeah, and I'm just meeting these people, and there's all these like preconceived like rivalries and factions and cliques, and I don't know any of this. And like the first time I was on a debate, like I was doing excuse me, I do not yield, I do not yield, I do not yield. And apparently I was doing this to somebody who's a real big fucking deal. And whatever, I don't care. I don't know you from Adam. So I'm like, I'm just going to treat you like everybody else. I'm going to treat you as you treat me. And yeah, again, it's one of those that you'd be shocked at. Just when you think you know people, they really surprise you. And the people that you would think would be some of my most vicious enemies have been some of my most biggest supporters in very hard times. And yeah. People, like to quote George Carlin, people are fucking goofy. But to quote Phil K.O.E., God bless him, though. I wouldn't trade him for nothing. Yes, well, the irony is just lost on them at that point. Yes, very much so. But like, I noticed that there is, like, I've always thought you don't have to be serious to be sincere. That's why, I've always got this smile, and I'm trying to be nice to people. But I've noticed that there's this on a lot of Twitch streamers, there's this seriousness, but a real lack of sincerity. They're not really sincere about what they're saying or what they're believing, and it's this very performative thing, but they don't really have any sincerity. And there's just this I'm just trying to get one up on you. And like, to me, I always like to say, I'm not serious. I'm not like, fuck, life's too short, and laughter is one of the few great things that separate man from the beast and make life worth living. So why fucking be so serious? But you can still be sincere and care about people and want their problems to be better and want their situation to be better. So that's why, like, yeah, I always combine that, but I've noticed quite the opposite here. I see Prime K is left. Yeah, oh, very much so. But still a decent human being. I with my interactions, good man. And also his audience raised thousands of dollars for the Oliver Strong, and so I'm in that man's debts. Once my nephew is fully convalesced, I'm going to try to make a drive to pay back him and Dylan Burns the money that they donated. But got to make sure my nephew convalesces first. I imagine GSU is as well. I guess it's been too long, but oh yeah, GSU is a leftist, definitely a leftist, but nice guy and also persuadable. That's the thing that I like about GSU is he comes in with his own idea, but he actually can be persuaded if it's something like, now if it's a bedrock belief, no, he's not going to move on it, but he can be persuaded on the marginal issues, if you will. So I like the guy. I think we got off to a bad start the first time, but no, I like the guy now. Yes, I literally want to die laughing. It would be the best way to go. Oh, God fucking bless Starman. And that's the thing. I see things on both sides, and that's would preferably be most people, but and we'll get into that in a second. But the Dems right now are just off their rockers. Yes, I got to agree with you. The Democrats, like when you hear the shit they're like, let's get rid of the filibuster, and then like even Prime said he wants to get rid of the Senate, and I'm like, really? Like, dude, real, like, come on, man. No. Now I get why they don't. Like, I live in Nebraska, okay? Now, these folks from big states complain about us folks from little states and how many electoral votes we have and how we swing things in the Senate and all that. And you got to understand, when presidential election time comes around, you imagine all these big states with like this big plate full of cookies. And then us small states, we got this plate with this one little cookie. And the big states saying, you got way too much fucking cookie. What the fuck? Why do you have all that cookie? You're swinging the election way too much. And they want to take our one cookie away. Like, fuck you. And then the Senate is really the only way we have any say in American politics in these small states. Otherwise, it would just be the cities pretty much railroading us. Like, we would have no say in what the fuck goes on. But now I want to get back to this, see things on both sides, because it's too bad. And here's the unfortunate reality. And like, I realized this about myself, and it's something we all have to realize about ourselves. Because we consume media from machines, we all do. The media we consume comes to us from machines. We all have to accept the fact that there is a certain amount of our opinions that are assigned to us, whether we know it or not consciously, except you and me, right? No, but no, that's the thing. Once you realize that, then your mind can start to move on to that next level. Okay, shit. Now, and then you always have to self-analyze. Like, is this something that the machines, the boxes are trying to assign an opinion to me? Like I was making the joke that it's no coinkydink that your political partisanship is going to determine whether you think 2016 was full of chicanery and 2020 was on the up and up, or quite the opposite if you think 2020 was full of chicanery and 2016 was on the up. Like, your opinions are kind of assigned to you. And that's like, for instance, I support the arts in schools. Yeah, art is an amazing thing that children need to learn. And like I was just saying earlier, she's since remarried, so I don't need to. I'm not like doxing her, but my old high school teacher, Mrs. Apley, she gave me when we were doing Animal Farm as our English assignment. I took it home and I read the whole book in one night. And then I bring it back and say, yeah, I've read the whole book. It's really good. And I can do the test, but I just, so she, like, the rest of the class is just, right. Yes. The rest of the class was just, gonna go one chapter at a time through Animal Farm. She hands me George Orwell's 1984, and it changed my fucking life. So Mrs. Apley, thank you. God bless. And yeah. Just that one influence. And yes, art is a great way to do it. I think every child should have some education in the arts, regardless of what it is, like whether it's instrument, just painting, whatever. Art is, again, just like laughter, one of the few things that sets us apart from the animals. I've always believed very much in the Greek ideal, which turns out my grandma was half Greek, but the Greek ideal of humanity. You are not a god, but you're also not an animal. So don't degrade yourself like an animal, but don't self-aggrandize yourself like you're a god at the same time. So you're right there, and appreciate it and understand it. And that's always where I've it's just always been my own personal axiom. But yeah, uh that was an interesting debate. I did not think it was going to go to fascism. It started off on free speech, but then pejoratives got thrown around. And at one point, Vaush, I think you're a Martian. Clearly, you're a Martian. I mean, how else could you be explained other than the fact that you're a Martian? And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'm a Martian." Because yeah, what are you gonna say when it's just some basis accusation where you don't like? Yeah, you're Martian. I think you're part of you're one of the lizard people, and you're also in league with the Greys or whatever. Like, yeah, just start throwing shit out. Why not? I am currently doing some hobby woodworking. Started from taking wood shop in school. Hey, fucking A, you're right, man. And that's actually something you can do quite a bit with. Yeah, when I yeah, fuck you, you're a Martian, you're in league with the Greys or whatever. I don't know. Something like let's throw something in about the Hollow Earth while we're at it. I don't know. I don't know. Fuck it. That's in the Kong movies now, so why not? Yeah. The great like that one fucking freaked me out like back in like 2004 2000 or like 2006 2008 all the conspiracy theorists were talking about the Hollow Earth. Oh my god, the Hollow Earth, you know about that. And now the latest Godzilla versus Kong movie, they just like, oh yeah, and there's an axe in the Hollow Earth and Kong needs it to beat up Godzilla. Like what? And they did the same thing with the Crystal Skull. Like again, Hollywood, they're just like, oh, we're out of ideas. What, the conspiracy theories of the Hollywood? Fuck it, go with it. Why not? I don't care. Fuck it. And yeah, by the way, I saw Godzilla versus Kong. Amazing movie, folks. You definitely need to see it. I actually review it on K.O.E Nation on YouTube. Yeah, movies nowadays are yes, most of them are not that great. But yes, Godzilla versus Kong, few exceptions. Yes, you do go check that one out. I would implores you to quote Bill Williamson from Red Dead Redemption 1. I implores you, John. But yeah, that one was actually just a good, fun movie, and there was no nonsense where like they're trying to fix you as the audience, and you just get to sit down and enjoy a show. Okay, there was no being preached to, none of that. Like, and I just enjoyed it. That you could just kind of enjoy. And again, it's Godzilla, so it's basically pro wrestling but with lizards. So just build them both up as big baddie badasses and then have them fight in the last 15 minutes of the movie. That's all you need to do. And they did that, and it was awesome, and I loved it. And yes, you need to check it out. It was Godzilla versus Kong. And the other reason is because when I was a kid, my favorite fucking movie growing up was the original Godzilla versus Kong. Literally, my parents would put the VHS in, and when it got to the scene where the native island people would start playing the drum and Kong would drink the berry juice, like 9 times out of 10 I would pass out with Kong. So my parents are like, well, fucking ain't right, pop that in, like he'll be out in 20 minutes. Glorious. And that was a very big piece of my childhood, and I was always so upset. I was pissed that in the back in the old 60s version that Kong was seen as the winner because I was Team Zilla. And so this time around when I was going in that theater, I like, a motherfucker, I am here to see Godzilla whoop some fucking gorilla ass, okay? And I'm not gonna spoil. I have a spoilers review on YouTube, and you should definitely check it out. And I took my daughter with me to go see it, and we just had a great time. She even agreed. It was like, wow, that movie was a lot more intense than I thought it was gonna be. Lord Almighty, God's Gojira. But yes. Definitely a must to see. But folks, also check out Vaush, Destiny debate, which featured a certain devilishly handsome outlaw himself. We'll get to that in a moment. But folks, yes, be sure to like, share, subscribe right here to KOE Nation on YouTube and Twitch. But I got a few more things to say. But folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining me this evening for this very special post Vaush Destiny live stream, where we also got into all of the necessary KOE content of the day. Plenty more of that to come. We will introduce Twitch to the Bourbon Tournament. YouTube, you know what's the awesomeness that is the Bourbon Tournament, but Twitch does not quite know. So, folks, I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme, Phil KOE, the lord of the Scottish Highlands, the conqueror of the ethereal, the prince and potentate of the political parlance, the one damn handsome man, the baron of bourbon, and the emperor of big bucking empire, signing off and handing it off. All of you beautiful, indomitable people, please raise a glass to yourselves. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. KOE Nation, YouTube, and Twitch. Also, check me out at Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. Also, RevRest Pod on Twitter. Also, be sure to subscribe to Big Buck Empire on YouTube and Facebook for the Thirsty Thursday show, where me, Tony, and Chicken get into all the politics, what's going on in pop culture, what's just what's going on with the trials and tribulations that we go through today. Thank you, Starman. God bless. God bless. And yes, folks, I hope to see all of you back here, happy, healthy, much the wiser. God bless every last one of you. Your souls, mwah, mwah, mwah. I kiss your souls 3 times, folks. Thank you. God bless. And I'll catch you later. And I ain't got the video, but I'll sing you off till I can get the buttons. If I ever get